start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you will be doing the impossible. So you start, what is necessary right away is creating a routine, I think, a habit. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I take these classes no matter what. And you just make the time. Choose a time that nothing will get in your way, maybe very early in the morning when you don't even see those dishes in the sinks. Everybody's still maybe sleeping, and choose a time that you can really do it. And then start by there, because when you create that, I think that is absolutely necessary. Then you will start going for more inevitably.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 281. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hello. I have a cold.
You do.
In case people can't tell by my voice.
It's been a long one, too. It's like really hanging in there.
Yeah, like it kicked in like the day after we recorded last week, and it's been with us ever since.
It has.
Like luggage or herpes. Can't get it to go away. So here we are. So, well, we had fun at the Yacht Rock concert.
We did. Oh my gosh, what a great format. I know we've said this before, but it's really cool how they have like all of the musician stuff all lined up on stage, and then they switch out people. It's so fast, and it's like, so somebody comes out and they play a few songs, it's all hits, and then somebody else comes out and then they go back in. It's quick, and it keeps the whole evening. It makes it feel very short, even though it's a long evening. It's nice.
Yeah, like it's tons of songs, but like if you get somebody like Walter Egan, who, unless you're a diehard Walter Egan fan, he's probably only got 2 songs that you know. So he comes out and he plays 2 songs, and you move on. And it's like, and it's the 2 you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And Peter Beckett from Player, same thing. Like, so it was
Baby, come back.
It's a nice setup they got going on.
It really is.
For sure. And it was good to see everybody.
It was. Yeah. I mean, Stephanie and Jeff came all the way from Connecticut, and that's a long way.
For sure.
Yeah. And then we had Jody and her friend Wendy, and their respective husbands came all the way from Kansas City.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And Jody McCammon, she was on the show. We interviewed her way back. It was like episode 76 or something like that. Like, it was so long ago. I mean, it was in the under 100.
Yes.
Like, it was 2018, late 2017, early 2018.
Yeah. It's been a bit.
It has. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So
it was great to get to know, to meet Jody. Like, we had we had that conversation so long ago. We've kept in touch all these years. So it was really cool to meet her in person.
Yeah. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we got to talk about this Tread Plus news. Woo!
Okay.
And then we have to revisit the Daniel topic. Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about it either, but we're gonna.
There's been some stuff that has happened in between episodes. Like, we're not just rehashing.
No. It's all new. Yeah. New info.
Yeah.
And then we've got some more movement as far as people leaving at Peloton. We're going to talk about. There's some new things that are going on within the app and the infrastructure of Peloton. We're going to talk about. We also have an update as far as like how to block creepers on the Peloton app.
Okay.
We've got a visit from the Peloton Prophet.
Ooh.
Haven't had one of those in a while.
It's been a bit.
It sure has. And then there's a ton of instructor news. So much.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. You can also leave us a review. That's always super helpful. We have a new review.
Yes.
This is from Colette Topfer.
Topfer.
Yes. Says, I can't believe I just found this gym after almost 4 years of Peloton workouts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, love the conversations, updates, and so many laughs. A must for any Peloton member.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Colette, that was a lovely review. Thank you so much.
And then you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Also, something else you could do that could help us a lot. You can just share an episode in your Facebook feed, Instagram, Twitter, and just be like, hey, I dig this show. I love Peloton. You should check it out. That's always super helpful. Maybe the single most important thing that you can do to help the show, if helping the show is something you would like to do.
Yeah.
You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/theclipout. So if you want to see what I look like with a cold, it looks pretty much the same.
This is the new Peloton fleece hoodie that Mariana made me buy because she looks so pretty in it. I had to grab it.
This is my 12-year-old Disney hoodie. So you can find us where else? Oh, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout, where you get bonus content and you get ad-free episodes. So
and we owe you guys one.
We do. It's been a bit. It's been super busy, and then I was sickly, and so we just didn't think you wanted to hear me sounding like that. There would have been a lot of sniffling.
Yeah.
There's nobody, you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So, especially if you're paying for it.
Oh.
Yeah. And finally, don't forget, we've got a newsletter at theclipout.com. You can go over there and sign up for that, and you can get all sorts of all the links and stuff we throw at you. And if we have any sort of special, super important announcements to make in between, we got a way to get a hold of you. So, we don't sell your info if you're worried about the the sanctity of your Gmail account is super important to you. Fear not.
Safe with us.
Yes, fear not. We don't even know how to do that. Mm-mm. So there you go. So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
We finally have news about the tread.
I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited. Yeah, Peloton released a joint statement with the CPSC this week saying that the refund for the Tread Plus has been extended till November of 2023. This is huge because this indicates, the statement actually says they are working, Peloton is working on finding a solution of a rear guard that can eventually be retrofitted for our Tread Pluses that we already have out here. And someday, maybe we'll even get to see them be sold again. That's the goal.
That would be great. Because I know from the get-go, I was just like, I don't think it's coming back. I would love to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because
this would be a great thing for you to be wrong about.
Absolutely. And, especially just selfishly, we have one that we'd like them to continue to care about. Right?
Yes.
But I know some people were kind of about the fact that they're like, oh, sure, now that I sent mine back, why do they wait so long? This is and it's like, well, they got the federal government involved now. They don't just get to do whatever they want when they're going through this process.
Yeah, the CPSC has to sign off on everything they do. It's kind of like if you were to have a custody battle, and the custody battle, let's say that you cannot make any kind of decisions with the person that you're getting divorced from. So instead, you say, hey, courts, we would like you to help us decide where this child should live. Once you do that, you no longer get to have a lot of say.
Yeah, now nobody's got a say. It's got to go through the court system, and that's basically what you got going on here. So when people are like, why don't they should have told us earlier, they just didn't bother, and it's like, that's not really fair.
I don't know that they could.
Yeah.
But the other cool thing about this is that I think that it also means that we're going to see some kind of retrofit option eventually coming to us. I can't help but think that there's probably a lot of, in the same way they couldn't tell us, there's probably some hey, CPSC, we Peloton have this new design. What do you think? And then I picture the CPSC being like, we're not really impressed.
Yeah.
Give us another one.
Or I could see the CPSC being like, okay, well, put it in that stack over there.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when your kid turns in.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like when your kid turns in the paper late, and they're like, "Hey, teacher, could you grade the paper now?"
Yeah,
the teacher's
I'll get to it.
Shouldn't have turned it in late.
Yeah. Let's not forget. As much as I enjoyed it at the moment when John Foley kind of told them off, it didn't set the tone well
Yeah.
for that. It's like if you were in the middle of that custody battle and you told the GAL to F off, you probably aren't going to get a lot of sway with that GAL going forward. So I'm just really excited that I get to keep my Tread Plus for now, and that, you know, this bears this. I can assume that I get to have it at least for one more year, and I'm very, very excited about that. So if you have not returned your Tread Plus, keep it.
And if you're in the process of returning it, you can call them and tell them no, never mind.
Yeah, lots of people did that this week. It was all good. No questions asked. They were fine with it.
Yeah. You know, when we were talking about how once the government's involved, you don't fully control your own destiny. I know a lot of people were also concerned about, like, when they push out that update for the auto incline and Tread Plus didn't get it. It was like, oh no. But, like, you got to wonder if in the interim, while they're figuring things out, they're just like, you're not doing anything to this thing.
Yeah, I don't think that Peloton can make many changes to it while it's under this review process, because it's still been recalled. So like, there's probably, I don't know what those parameters are, but I can only assume there's some kind of parameters that, like, you can't make changes to this, and this until we say so. So I'm sure that's it. And I also want to say, under that same kind of umbrella, is if something happens to that base and it's yours, like, Peloton cannot replace it while it's under recall. So if your base dies, unfortunately, you're just going to have to wait until the new one comes out. I know it's not what anybody wants to hear. I'm just saying that is what we're living in right now, is this kind of weird in between world.
Yeah, and it's not them just not giving a it's like they're legally forbidden.
Yeah, so they just can't. And so, you know, the other thing is, I know a lot of people have talked about, like, I have a rear guard solution for this thing. All we got to do is slap it on there. I have talked to enough engineering type people at this point that
you used to work in robotics.
I did. I am under the impression that by adding a rear guard, the other thing that you have to worry about is those slats keep moving forward, obviously. And then it could create a pinch point between the rear guard and where the slats are.
So you've traded one set of problems for another.
Exactly. And so I can't imagine that they are that the CPSC is going to be very forgiving of that. Like, that's a whole nother issue that has to be addressed, if that's even happening. And so that's something that if in fact is happening as they try to design it, that's something they're going to have to work around. So it'll be really interesting to see what this final design looks like.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to look very different.
But I think the takeaway here is largely positive, which is that they have every intention of keeping the Tread Plus around. That if you have one, you just bought yourself another full calendar year of before you have to make any sort of decision, which also gives them more time to land on a final decision of what that correction's going to be, and then you get to decide if that's good enough for you, or if you want to send it back or keep what you got. So, like, I think overall this is really positive, except I'm sure there are people who have returned it that wish they hadn't.
For sure. I saw about 1 billion people post that.
But, like, that, I mean, that's the risk you take. I'm not to be callous, but it's an unfortunate situation. They
made a decision based on the information they had,
right?
And I mean, I can certainly understand. It's not like I never considered that same decision, so I can certainly understand making it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got your full refund back,
right?
And so you now have all that money, whereas the rest of us don't have that money,
right?
But we have the Tread, so it's like, you're trading.
You were made whole,
yeah.
So
exactly.
It's not like you returned it for a prorated amount. Like you got all your money back, so it's like you had a free Tread for 2 years. And
I mean, at this point it's almost 4 for some people.
Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was 2018. So yeah.
Wow, it's hard. But I get, COVID.
Yeah, COVID is like crazy.
Because you forget, like, you're like, well, you had the entirety of COVID. There's 2 years right there.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, like COVID. Just time gets sucked down a hole.
Yeah.
So
I feel much better having this, because I feel like it gives them more time. The longer we have, the better opportunity we have to get this fixed for reals and for the whole category to be made whole. So I think it's a good thing. And I just want to say one thing that I've seen kind of resurface, the conversation about there's a lot of people that are saying, well, there's other treadmills on the market. Why are they picking on Peloton? And let me just say, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I always have. I have had engineering people tell me there are differences between the Peloton motor and like the Woodway motor. Something about that it's heavier, center of gravity makes it harder to stop, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure an engineer could tell you better than that. But my point is, it may not be as apples to apples comparison as it looks. But even if it isn't, I still think, I have always thought the CPSC is trying to make an example of Peloton, and they did.
Yeah.
So that's always been my belief, and I continue to believe that.
In Daniel McKenna news, it's nice to have a headline that's not about Daniel McKenna this week, though, huh? How about that, everybody?
I am all about it. Yeah.
But, so after we posted our episode last week, some more information came out. Or shortly before we posted it.
I can't even remember the timeline.
It's all a blur. And there was all the cold medicine for me.
Yeah.
But CEO Barry McCarthy was replying to people's direct emails to him about where and why they handled the Daniel situation.
Yeah, apparently Barry McCarthy has always, since he's been at Peloton, has always answered people's emails. My understanding is, since I've been talking about it, there are a lot more people that have found out his email address. It's not hard to find.
Most companies have a formula that they use for their...
Little Google and you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But at any rate, people, they emailed about their upsetness that Daniel was gone and the lawsuit in particular. And Barry McCarthy said, "Thank you for emailing me. Daniel alleges behavior by Peloton, which if true would be abhorrent to our values. I would never let that happen, nor more importantly would Jenn Cotter, who runs the content team. But if you wanted a large monetary settlement, you might allege outrageous claims. Sometimes the world is not as it appears." And the armchair experts went wild. So, from what I hear from the attorneys that I know and have known for a long time and therefore trust because they are actually real people in my life, my understanding is that it's very likely that the legal team was like, "Barry, don't do that." But also, there's nothing in this letter that really does anything to their case, because
basically all he says is, "We didn't do that."
He doesn't even say that.
Yeah.
He really just says that.
Well, he says, "I would never let that happen."
He does.
So he says, "We didn't do that," and of course, the other side is going to say they didn't do that. So that's and I don't mean that but of course they'd say it, so it's bullshit.
No.
I'm just saying we still don't know. But of course, if you're in a legal situation, I mean, you're gonna say, "No, we didn't." He's not undermining anything.
No, and for those who are saying this is going to become part of discovery, Barry was already named in the suit. His emails were already part of discovery, and Jenn Cotter's would already be part of discovery. So I don't think that anything there is part of the issue. So that happened.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate for people who may not have understood what I was saying last week. I think that we need to let all of the facts come out before we land on one side or the other. It's not really shocking to me that Barry or anybody at Peloton would be like, "Hold on, I would like to get my side of the story out."
Right.
It's also not shocking to me that just because Daniel put a claim out there does not mean that it's 100% true.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not either.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything. It's a claim. There was no proof there at all.
Yeah.
Because it's not that's not where we are in the process. That comes out later. So I don't know if we'll even get to that point. I still say this is going to arbitration next.
That's my guess as well, but who knows? And there are also people who thought it was odd that this is how they respond, not with a public statement, but just with emails that kind of work their way into the ecosystem in a Clipart exclusive. But I don't necessarily even disagree, but
I can't explain why he did it other than if I were sitting in his place, I would probably want to do the same thing. I know for all the people that did yell at me, there were certainly people that I responded to that I probably shouldn't have wasted the energy on.
Right.
And I could see if somebody were coming at me saying this stuff and I felt it was not true, I could absolutely see defending myself, even if my legal team said don't.
Yeah, I absolutely get the impulse.
Yeah, I do too. So I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. It'll be interesting. I'm sure it'll be months before this gets resolved one way or another, right?
I would think, if not longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As far as defending myself,
yes,
I also just want to say that there were a lot of people that did not believe that I had knowledge that email from Barry was real.
That you'd been duped.
Yes, a lot of people felt that I just didn't. Poor little girl just doesn't understand how the internet works.
Doesn't understand that Photoshop exists and that's you just saw a thing and believed it.
I did. Yes, I'm such a girl. Mansplain it to me, please. Although there were a lot of women splaining to me also, that's really not fair to blame that on men.
Yeah.
But one of the people who doubted me, and let me just say that I appreciate how they handled this.
Absolutely,
because,
for real.
For real. Brittany Garcia, she was skeptical. So instead of yelling at me, she just decided to take matters into her own hands, and she reached out to Barry herself,
which is a fair thought process, right? If this is what Barry's saying to people, if I reach out to Barry, I should get a version of this, and that's a fair litmus test.
So I also think that the way she handled it was good. And she said, she posted on our Clip Out page that she emailed Barry too. And then, so Barry linked to the Clip Out post on Instagram and said, Brittany, thank you for emailing. It's never easy to part ways with instructor. Here's what I've said publicly about the situation, Barry. And then he linked back to what I had posted on Instagram. So
he was kind enough to confirm that because people were skeptical.
Yes. And it's understandable for everyone who was skeptical. Like, let me just say, I am not upset or mad that anybody was skeptical. I am upset and mad. I want to draw the difference between questioning me and being rude. There's a huge difference. Like, I get it. I get it that people would be skeptical of it. I really, really do. It is completely understandable. But at any rate, it was real, and that's where it is. I can't even say I understand it. Like, I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. There's a huge difference between thinking, wow, that's how I would have handled it, and that's how he handled it.
For sure. So anyway, hopefully that's the last we'll have to talk about this story for a little bit. It'd be nice to leave this behind us and let the next story just be a resolution.
It would. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Yes. In unrelated news, no matter how much you want it to be related, Peloton's top human HR executive is leaving the company.
Yes, Sherry Eaton, the chief people officer, is leaving. So I did not realize that Barry, this was technically the first hire that Barry made. He referred to her as the first hire. Now, Sherry Eaton was already at the company, but he elevated her to chief people officer. So that's why he called it his first hire. But she said that she was leaving to pursue a new endeavor. Her phone rang unexpectedly, and she said that there was no bad blood and that, she left it all in good terms. Now, a lot of people were very skeptical about that because of non-competes, and in that world, you have to not burn bridges. I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Yeah. All I know is that's the classy way to leave, regardless of what the actual truth was. Well, I hope she left on good terms.
You would think an HR person would know to leave classy.
Mm-hmm.
But
you would.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of where we're at with Peloton right now, right? Where it's like someone leaves and doesn't say anything. Well, that must mean something awful. Someone leaves and says something awful. Well, that must mean something awful. Someone leaves and says something nice. Well, that must mean something awful. That
is where we are.
Yeah. So that's called confirmation bias.
Yes.
And
facts.
Yeah.
Hashtag facts.
So I think maybe we just accept some people at their word.
I agree. I mean, I think that in reality, what's going on is that there's going to be a lot of churn, and some of it is going to be because Barry wants a new set of people underneath him because he is the one in charge now. And some of these people are seeing that there are opportunities out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody's been looking, but it's kind of a ripe market for people right now. So,
and if she was elevated, there's no reason to think that he's unhappy with her and is pushing her out the door. So I do kind of believe the version of events where it's just like, hey, somebody called me up with a better job and I took it.
I don't know, but it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter one way or another.
Yeah, that is also true.
Because it's just like, well, this is far less upsetting than everything else has been. But some people are trying to link it to Daniel.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's directly connected, that she threw a fit and was like, I'm not doing this because you fired Daniel. I just don't think that's going to be a thing.
I don't see an HR person storming out the door over one personnel decision.
Nope.
That's just...
It's not really the way HR works.
No.
So, I mean, in my experience, HR has always been more for the company than for the actual human.
Yeah.
So and I'm not saying that's even a bad thing. Like, I understand the need for it. Yeah. Anyway, we wish Sherry luck with her new endeavor.
Absolutely.
You like my fancy picture?
It is fancy.
This is totally not. Like, it's so terrible. This is what happens when I get off the tread and I'm still wobbly from my workout.
So they have a new rating system.
Well, it's the same rating system, but they added a new rating.
Of caption quality.
Yes. So they've had this rating system, but they added captions to, they used to have just like the class overall, playlist, instructor, stream quality, difficulty, but now they've added caption quality. And this one was perfect. So 5 stars. Also, Jocelyn Thompson Rule tried to kill me in this class. And that's why I got rated a 9. Because I think that if you were going to be asked to do a fast run 3 times in a row for 90 seconds, you need to call that a 9. But it was all done in love. I know that. And I am better for it. I am better for it. So this week, Peloton released in the app a new questionnaire that allows you to put in answers to questions and get personal workout recommendations. So I have included a couple of the questions. There were several. It's like basically a little quiz. One of them is, what is your preferred workout intensity? So of course I said high, because you can't pick more than you can't pick more than one. And I really prefer to work out at all 3 of these, not just one.
For different times, different reasons. That makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. But I went ahead and said hi. Okay, so then you can go to the next picture. So then they ask about your fitness goals, and I have several. Like, I am just complex.
You are an enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a riddle.
Exactly. Not really. I just want everything all the time. All at once. That was a movie.
Wrapped in a Rush Bowl.
So, oh God, I love those. Anyway, increase endurance, train for a race, and gain muscle were the ones that I picked. So we have, just to recap, I have high intensity and I want to increase my endurance. Those don't go together, just to be clear. And so, again, there were lots of questions, but those
so
were my top 2.
You were trying to confuse it.
No, it's a lot of things I want to do. I think they need to say, like, which is your top goal.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then after you've answered all of the questions, they give you a list of personal recommendations of these classes. And these are the top workouts for me. And it said, because you like stretching. And then it gave me a 5-minute post-ride stretch with Emma Lovewell, which I thought was interesting. I don't know where they based it off of. I said I like stretching, country music, pop music, and alternative music. So maybe that's why. I really don't know why they chose this. I just thought this needs some work.
Sure.
It's day 1. You know, I'm not even complaining. I'm just not sure I understand it just yet.
Yeah.
The meditation journey was next.
I also wonder if it's still learning. Like, if it's a system where as more people answer questions,
It'll get better.
It'll get better.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's gotta have data to go off of. So it gives you 3 different recommendations, and then you can bookmark those classes. I like that they added that in. That's really smart. And you can go back and change your answers at any time. So you could do this over and over again to get different suggestions, which I probably will do. So I really like where they're headed with this. I did not feel like it really was all that helpful for me specifically, just because I think like you said, Tom, I wasn't purposely trying to confuse it, but I do think I did confuse it by saying things like, I would like to increase my endurance and I would like to have a class at 60 to 90 minutes. But then I also said I want high intensity, because you don't want to do that for 60 to 90 minutes. Right. So
I'm glad that you can change it later, because that's always my thing. Like, whenever like Spotify's like, or whatever is like, well, do you want more of this artist? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't like that song, but I like that artist.
Yeah.
And I like that song, but I don't like that artist generally. And I'm like, what is it? If I say yes, what am I teaching it?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm an overthinker.
Yeah. So am I. Clearly, I wanted to choose every single option on every single page. So I think that says a lot. So I like where they're headed with it. You know, Barry had talked about this was something that was important to him to give personal recommendations. So it's neat to see it starting to come to life.
The Netflixification of Peloton.
Peloton.
Yeah. You came across an interesting article from us2.com Lanebreak.com, and they are the makers of Lanebreak.
Yeah, I loved this website. I thought it was so cool because they made the game. They designed the game. And I loved seeing that they had like this artwork in there. It was kind of like behind the scenes. I felt like I was like watching a behind the scenes thing at Disney World.
Yeah.
It was really neat because they had all this artwork. Like if you keep scrolling, there's like really cool artwork that they showed where they had put it together. So they had like how the conception art, which I love seeing. And they talked about like how it was something totally new for them to use the bike as the actual controller and the resistance knob. So it was really neat just to hear how they thought it through and how they tested it. It was, I just love behind the scenes stuff. So this was right up my alley.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I know you've really come to enjoy your lane breaks.
I really have. I really, really love it. And I think it's really cool that that DJ John Michael has such a large hand in picking the music for it. He has an ear for music and he picks a lot of really cool stuff.
There was also an interesting post this week about something you've been wanting to do, which is how to block the weirdos. Yeah,
really just one.
Well, it's just one now, but it seems that when it comes to weirdos, there's always another one just around the corner.
Faux show. But yeah, this person posted over on the OPP, so that's where this image is coming from. I feel like there's 500,000 people in the group, so I feel like it's okay to share that.
Yeah, that's pretty public.
But they talked about that the issue is that this person is following them, and then whenever they go to the different classes, this person follows them into the classes. Now, you can hide your profile. You can say it's not public, but if you happen to take classes that this person takes, they can still find you. It is not difficult to find somebody. And that's what my creeper does. But the interesting thing about this, you posted, you're showing the second screenshot, and that's okay because this has the part that I wanted to talk about. A group member, Ashley Chow, said that she had the same issue. Maybe this is the same person that posted it. I don't know. Anyway, this person keeps sending her follow requests. So she reached out to Peloton support. And unlike with my issue, they could block this guy from her. And so now this person can no longer search her on their end. So they can do it.
Interesting.
Also, the employee went on to say that that they are working on adding a blocking option. Now, let me be clear. I have heard a lot of these things from employees over the years, and a lot of them never happen. So let me be clear.
Like the sexy people filter?
It never happened.
Still waiting on.
It's still waiting.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, customer service agents do not always know what's actually happening.
Yeah.
So I am not putting all of the stock in this, but I will say it would be really, really cool if Peloton would do this, because you should be able to block people who are harassing you.
Absolutely.
And turning off your making your profile private doesn't do it, because if they hang out in classes they know you go to all the time, like my Jen Sherman Sunday morning, they just come and they show up and they look for you and then they high five the shit out of you because they know it annoys you.
Yeah.
So that's not really a great solution. They need a better one. And I can't believe with all the celebrities that do it, they don't have it. I bet you it's different for celebrities. I bet you if I was a celebrity, I would have some pull and I could be like, stop this creeper. But I don't, because I'm not.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever be Beyonce. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a big fat no.
That's good, because the pressure on me to be Jay-Z at that point would be just insurmountable.
I think we're safe, Tom.
Yes.
I think we're very safe.
Just don't have it in me.
It's too exhausting.
Yes. I have like 117 problems. And it bitches all of them.
Wow. I hope I'm not the bitch.
No.
Okay. Phew.
That's why we're here.
Okay. We got to clarify these things. Otherwise,
I just thought it was implied.
I mean,
didn't realize you were concerned.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to the internet, but people twist things.
I didn't realize that was contagious. So Forbes has an article about Peloton users being worried, or potential Peloton purchasers being worried about, should they be concerned about the future of the company before they embark on their Peloton journey?
Here is the short answer.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's a huge IP at this point. Somebody's going to buy them. I mean, if it went under tomorrow, there would be somebody that would buy it.
Yeah, those instructors are too popular. Somebody would scoop it up. It might not
may not look the way it looks
might not
now.
look exactly the way it looks now, but like it's not going anywhere. But also, I don't think they're in danger of going anywhere. I know the stock price isn't where they want it to be, but
yeah,
I think when you need to get concerned is when you start seeing an exodus of instructors, right? Mm-hmm. And so far that has not occurred.
Right.
And I mean, I know people aren't happy about the Daniel McKenna thing.
They're never going to be happy when an instructor leaves,
but
though.
That's not driven by we're out of money and we can't pay people anymore, right?
Yeah. On the Daniel McKenna thing, just one last little tidbit on that, and that is just that people keep bringing up to me, and I keep forgetting to mention this on the show, that when we had our tarot card reader on, Erica McLean, she talked about that a male tread instructor would be leaving in the fall over a disagreement with management. God damn, she nailed that.
Yeah,
it is fall. Daniel is male. He was on the tread, and it is definitely a disagreement with management.
Yes.
I mean,
all of those things are true.
I have to say, I have never been a believer, but she is making me question things.
Yeah, she is. She's definitely stuck the landing on a few things.
She has.
But anyway, the Forbes article, I feel like...
Sorry, getting back to that.
Feels like it goes on to say a lot of the same stuff, which is like, this is going to be around and you're going to be fine. And like, don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, I hope people don't let that keep them from buying things. I'm really not worried about it. And I mean, that's easy. And people who say that's easy for me to say, I probably have more financial than the average person wrapped up in Peloton because I have the Tread Plus, which was not cheap. I have the Bike Plus. I already had the bike. Not to mention, I have the rower on order and the guide. Well, I didn't buy the guide. So
and you have stock.
In stock, yeah.
And a show based around it.
Yes. So yeah.
But this is not a thing we've ever lost sleep over.
No, not ever. And I will also say one more thing. There's a lot of people that are posting a lot of really negative things. And like everything that Peloton does, it used to be everything Peloton did, people assumed was good, including myself. And now it's kind of swung the other direction, like a really bad pendulum, where now everything they do is looked at like it's automatically bad,
right?
Whether it is or it isn't.
It's gone from Peloton can do no wrong to Peloton can do no right.
Yeah. So I would just say, if you're really that worried about the company, how about just take a deep breath and stop posting hateful things? Like I'm not saying don't question them. I'm not saying don't be critical thinker. Not saying that at all. You should be a critical thinker, and you should look at the big picture of what's happening here. The big picture is Peloton is not only a huge company, but they have, like you said, Tom, all of these huge instructors and a lot going for them. They also have a lot of cash in the bank. And if all of these things that they are doing, any of them work, we are headed in the right direction. It is not going to be over quickly. It is not going to be a slam dunk, but they are working hard on it. And I think that if we all could just collectively support them, we would be helping. I'm not saying that's going to fix everything or that we should be blindly supportive, but I also think that maybe we've gone too far in the other direction. So just a thought.
And to that end,
although a lot of people did not like this article.
Yeah. Well, of course not, because it said something positive.
Yeah, exactly.
To your point.
Yeah.
But Seeking Alpha had an article. It's just talking about that this particular writer is bullish on Peloton, and he thinks there's lots of things there to like, and that no, it will never be $150 a share like during the pandemic. But like they've got tons of revenue coming in from all these subscriptions, and like there are positive things about Peloton that people lose sight of. Yeah,
and let me just say, I agree with people who were like, this guy is looking 10 years out. We cannot look at that. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. Totally fair. None of us know what's going to happen in 10 years because, geez Louise, if the pandemic taught us nothing.
Except for that tarot card reader.
She might be the only one.
Yes.
But besides Erica McLean, none of us know what's going to happen in 10 years. And I think that the important takeaway that I had from this is Amazon, Dick's Sporting Goods, all of these things that they're doing, this is good. We're headed in the right direction. They're making sure they have more than just one revenue stream. That is smart. That is what we want.
Yeah.
So good luck to Peloton.
And you know what's not heading in the right direction, though?
What's that?
The person in charge of stock photos over at Seeking Alpha.
Oh my God, I know.
Why is this person not on a Peloton bike? Not only not on a Peloton, but they're on some sort of
I will tell you
bike
why.
contraption that looks like Curly from the Three Stooges would have used it.
It's actually, this is a training bike, and I will tell you why. This is very simple, and I'm so glad you brought this up on the show because I am so tired of seeing people ask me this question over and over again. All it is that when there are like all these image databases whenever you're putting these things together. So when you type in something like cycling.
Yeah, exercise bike.
There you go.
But you're writing an article about a brand.
But the thing is, the person putting the picture in doesn't even read it.
Which is why
it's not the person who wrote the article. The person who wrote the article is not necessarily the person who does this
I know,
picture
but
finding.
that's why Seeking Alpha needs a better stock photo.
They do. Like, yeah, but it's not just Seeking Alpha. Like these group, I have seen so many articles, including, I think Forbes was like that too. Maybe Forbes had a Peloton, but there have been others in the last couple of weeks that did not use a Peloton when talking about Peloton.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
It is. And it's large outlets too, not just small ones.
A visit from the Peloton Prophet.
So there is some scuttlebutt about voice commands.
Yes. It has come to my attention that the guide might at some point be able to use voice commands to do things like search for things.
Oh. I was going to be like, okay, Peloton, make my butt smaller.
Oh, I thought you were looking for your sexy filter.
Oh. No, I don't have a need for sexy filter because one, I don't use Peloton. Two, you're the only sexy person I need.
Aww. So you can use search queries in theory that are things like the fitness category. So you could be like, show me 20-minute strength classes. You could also be like, I would like to see classes that target biceps. You could say, show me all 5-minute classes that target biceps. Or you could even say difficulty level of like beginner, intermediate, advanced. My understanding also is that if you leave out the mention of a fitness category, like maybe you didn't say strength, then it's just always going to default to strength. Again, this would just be for the guide. Also, let's remember that everything that gets tested does not get shown to the public. So it doesn't always make it to the final round of us actually using it. But that'd be really cool if it did. Because I will say that they did just redo their software, voice recognition software. Like they did an update to it on the guide. I've been using it for yoga a lot lately. And I really like that I can bring things up pretty quickly. Like the other day I got a phone call right in the middle of yoga. And I was like, okay, Peloton, pause. And it did. It was great. And you can change the weights whenever you're using it for strength. You can be like, okay, Peloton, change it from 15 pounds to 20 pounds. And it's like that. It's smooth as silk. It works really, really well.
Oh, that's cool.
I am actually shocked how well it does work. So pretty cool.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I have a question from one of our Clip Out listeners. This is something that I've heard a lot, and I think that you can identify with it too. It's from Tana Phi Henry. I hope that I did not just butcher her name. She is trying to sort out how much of which activity to do. Cycling, walking, light weightlifting, stretching, and meditation are her go-tos, but how much of each and when? Oh, the perennial question.
Yeah. Look, I always recommend that people work with a sports physiologist, a trainer, someone to kind of who's objective and is well versed in this stuff. You, Crystal, are the perfect example since you've really studied this, so you can really help people. So everybody call Crystal. But
She's got nothing but time.
But really finding that balance, both physically and emotionally. Like I know there's some people who can run on the tread 7 days a week, and more power to them. I admire them. I bow down to them. I would be so burnt out. for me, like I alternate tread days and spin days. And I look forward to one day also adding in a row day. That's another story. But
very soon.
exactly. But so really being able to alternate, because also one of the things, and Crystal, you can speak to this, is you don't want to injure yourself. That repetitive motion, and especially running, and especially depending on where you are in your fitness journey, if you are a newer runner, there's a real tendency to overdo it. And that's really one of the worst things that you can do, because then you overdo it, you get injured, and then you're out for the count. You can't do anything, and it creates a really negative association. So making sure that you have that balance. And Tom is going to argue. Well, actually, he won't even argue. He just won't do it. But stretching, beginning and end of your workout, injury prevention is really a key thing. And also mentally speaking, being able to, and it sounds like she already does yoga meditations, which is great, but really making sure that you are having that balance, not just physically, but also mentally. You know, that there are some days that maybe it's your harder workout, some day it's your lighter workout, some day it's, you know, the class or the instructor that you always look forward to, or maybe you have a favorite ride or a favorite run or a favorite walk that you do, that you have kind of your fail safes and your classes that, okay, on a hard day, I can take that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you do have to kind of think about not only what do you want to do, but what is good for you. And I think sometimes that in and of itself is hard. Just kind of coming up with, you need to be motivated, so you want to do the things you want to do, but you also need to do the things that are good for you. And sometimes you're not motivated to do the things that are good for you, and that's hard. Like Tom and stretching.
Stretching is the perfect example, because a lot of the time people, Tom, are so busy building muscle or focusing on cardio that either they don't value it or they don't have the patience for it. And I've been really pushing yoga and stretching on Eric.
How's it going?
And I'm not well at all. But I'm going to keep you posted. I'm hoping he, at least what I've gotten from him is he admits he knows he needs it and it would be good for him.
So I mean, that's something.
So I think mentally he's there on the same page about the necessity of it. It's just making the time and being willing to do it. And he's very much like an athlete's mentality. Like if you're not pushing yourself, like it's not enough. And I think that we can all fall into that kind of mentality. And we have to be really careful, because that's a way to get injured or burned out.
For sure.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I do the beginning stretches, but I don't do the stretches at the end. By the end, I'm like, I'm bored and I want to be done, and I just,
So you're halfway there. You're halfway there.
That does make me feel better. You know? and I do recommend experimenting with the 5-minute stretch at the end, just 5, because that's way more tolerable. Because I know a lot of the time I finish my workout and I'm like, I am mentally done. And the idea of a 10-minute stretch, I can't do it. Like I can't even, sometimes I feel like I can't stand up or like sit up for that long. So like I've got my go-to, like Chelsea's 5-minute pigeon yoga is I can't stand up. I know my hips need a stretch. I just ran, I just cycled. That's my go-to.
And it's a good one. Pigeon stretch after running is a very, very good one.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on all my social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man, and also in Style Magazine. I have a weekly column called Hump Day with Dr. Jenn that comes out every Wednesday.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
Matt Wilpers was on the Allie on the Run podcast.
Yes, I love Allie. So if you don't know Allie, first of all, she was one of our guests a while back, but also she has gotten to interview many of the Peloton instructors, and she is doing a whole, I think it's like 3 different live shows for the New York City Marathon in New York. But this week she got to do a one-on-one with Matt, and they talked all about his wedding planning, running a coaching business, and all kinds of stuff like that. In addition, Allie is going to be doing an episode coming up all about the New York City Marathon. She was taking questions for it over on her Instagram that you could put anything in to ask about it. So for anybody who is preparing, you're going to be going to it, this is a great time to do it. So learn about Matt, and while you're there, go find out about the New York City Marathon.
And while we're talking about Matt, he had a fun Instagram post from his cousin's wedding, him and his sister showing off their height or lack thereof. Yeah.
It's adorable. This image is not funny to describe, but it is hilarious to see. It has 3 of his cousins, and they are holding Matt and his sister up by their shoulders, like they're all linking shoulders. But Matt and his sister are about 1.5 feet off the ground, and it's really, really cute. So I was really glad that he shared that. That's cute.
I feel your pain.
You guys are about the same height, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. We got the same haircut. And that's where the similarities end.
Yeah.
Oh, we were both on the first episode of the Clip Out.
Oh, there, one more.
Becs Gentry shared a pregnancy update Instagram post.
Yeah, she's been doing her kind of like journal of being pregnant, and she's done first trimester, second trimester, and now she is on the 3rd trimester. And it's incredible that she is already there. And, you know, for people who are not keeping track, I just want to remind everyone, Just King and Becs Gentry are due on the same day. So it will be really interesting. I think they're taking bets to see who's going to go first.
And Emma Lovewell had a post from Becs Gentry's baby shower.
Yeah, and I will say a lot of the instructors posted this. This just happened to be the first one that I came across.
Yeah.
But Austin, who is Becs Gentry's her significant other, he put together a surprise baby shower for Just King and Becs Gentry. And
it can't be too much of a surprise. She knows she's pregnant.
The shower.
Oh, okay.
The shower was the surprise. And Anna Greenberg was there with her baby Noah. So there was a picture of all 3 mamas together. And obviously we still have Chelsea. She just had her baby, but too soon to come out.
Yes.
She should not be out with that baby just yet. She needs to sleep.
Yes. Because speaking of Chelsea, she also had...
She had the funniest post. She said she has a picture of her laughing and says, when they ask if you've been getting enough sleep since the baby arrived, that it's like a maniacal laugh.
Yes. You'll never get enough sleep again. That's just how that works.
It's true. Because even after they start sleeping, then you start worrying about other things, and you get no sleep for other reasons.
It just cycles.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But great post. Love it.
Robin Arzon spoke at the Wells Fargo Women in Leadership Summit this week.
She did. She got to do a speaking. She got to talk about women in leadership, and she gave a shout out to LaShonda for moderating. I thought it was pretty cool that this is another one she did. Well, somebody sent me a list. Apparently that there's like a database out there of people you can have come speak at your company. So
there's speaking engagement companies that
yes.
And you can go and shop different motivational speakers, celebrities, authors, things like that.
Yeah, very cool. So I got to looking at this, and so Wells Fargo, they had to pony up. The live fee, if you want her to be there live, it's $100,000 to $200,000.
Now I will say, as someone who
please
gets emails like
us.
this, because as a content promoter, I get people trying to sell me speaking engagement stuff too, because a lot of venues do both. We don't, but I will also say this is what they're asking for.
Doesn't mean they get it.
And then there are certainly times when maybe they like a particular cause. So if you see them speaking for like a charity, that doesn't necessarily mean the charity paid them $200,000. The charity might have paid them less or nothing if it's something that they're super into. So there's a lot of flexibility in speaking engagement.
It's kind of like MSRP on a car.
Yeah. Or even with bands, like if a band plays a private gig, they get one kind of money. If they do just what we call a hard ticket, which is like they're coming to the Staples Center, they get another price. If they're doing like a festival, they're getting a different price. So there's all sorts of flexibilities here.
Which also explains why even on this, there's such a wide margin.
For sure.
It doesn't say a hard number. It gives you a range, and it's a very large range. Like $100,000 range is a lot of range.
I will also say, if you come to them as Wells Fargo and say you want to hire Robin Arzon, you're probably getting a different quote than if you come to them as like Joe's Bait and Tackle, right? They know Wells Fargo's got deep pockets, and so they're like, okay, here's the number for them.
Well, other instructors that are listed that you can have come to your speaking engagement are Cody Rigsby, Jess Sims, Tunde, and I believe there were other instructors or other employees as well, like Jen Cotter is listed also. Yeah. And some of them have fees and some of them don't. Robin has the largest asking fee. We will just put it that way. So...
Good for her.
Absolutely.
And that makes sense.
It does make sense. She's the VP of content or something like that. I always get it wrong, but she's VP of something. And
she's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
And she came in with a very well-established brand. She'd already had a book. Mm-hmm. And so it's like it makes total sense that she would be pulling down serious money for stuff.
Absolutely. So good for her. Oh, speaking of Robin.
Yeah. She launched Swagger Society. Now, if anyone could explain what it is.
Yeah, no one can. And here's why. It hasn't been announced just yet.
Okay.
So if you're curious about what it is, go to swaggersociety.io. This is considered to be a Web3 initiative. No, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it is either. So I went to look it up.
Okay. I just know it's the latest generation of the internet.
So here's all I know is what I read on the Wikipedia. And even people in the computer world, the computer nerds out there, there's a lot of debate over what Web3 is and if it's even actually a real thing. Like a lot of people say,
what?
yeah, like not like so it has to do with
it just
like,
marketing?
It has that. Some people say that they're like, this is just putting a new spin on an old thing. Like this isn't really a thing. And other people are like, no, it's very different. And it's about data decentralization and cryptocurrencies and blah blah blah. And other people are like, that's just all bunk. So I still don't get it, but it sounds like a lot of people who are really into this sort of stuff, they don't get it either.
Or they don't agree on what it is.
Yeah, so and a lot of people do think it's a real thing. Like I'm not saying that this isn't real or that what she's doing is a scam. I'm just saying
it's not a scam.
No, I'm saying the idea of Web3 and exactly what that means is very much in flux and still kind of being defined. And a lot of people,
it's a very fluid situation.
Yeah, some people are really into it and some people give it side eye, which, same thing's true of Peloton.
So can you click on home or jobs now? You couldn't at the time. I'm just curious.
This wouldn't even open for me at work.
That's interesting. Before, those links weren't there. They didn't say home or jobs, and now it has that. And when you click on learn more, what happens is it takes you to a form and you fill it out, and then in theory you will get an email. But I never did. My guess is they haven't completely launched it yet, so it's just not out there. But it's called the First Lifestyle Membership Club in Web3. So we are going to learn together. I'm all over this. I will be telling everybody what it is just as soon as we know.
We will report back. And by we, of course, I mean Crystal.
Yeah. I'll even spend money on it. I'm curious. You got me. My question marks are all over the place. I got to know.
At least to find out.
Yeah. I mean, not stay there. We'll see. I don't know.
Logan Aldridge had a really cool post on Instagram of him lifting weights.
God,
but
he's amazing.
But a barbell, and just a reminder for those of you who maybe now don't remember, he's got one arm. And so he's doing a barbell lift with one arm, just the balance on something like that.
The balance, exactly. And this is the squat snatch. I hate that word.
Squat?
But, no.
Oh.
Not that one. And
I'm a big fan of it. You started this.
So anyway, back to Logan.
Okay.
He's amazing to watch. Like his power and like the balance, like you said, it's just really cool. It shows so much more than just like I'm lifting weights. It's pretty cool.
The only thing I could think the whole time I'm watching this video is
that big ass fan.
No.
Oh.
I was thinking, well, what did it look like the first time?
I know. Well, hopefully he started with something a little lighter. But how do you get confidence to put that much over your head?
Yeah.
Because these are Olympic lifts. These are not, this is not like a 10-pound barbell. Like there are weights on this. There are big plates. I mean, I don't know how much weight it is. It doesn't matter to me because it's impressive.
Right.
But
I was just like, there was a day like where he hadn't done this yet, where he was like, today I will try this.
Yeah,
I wonder how that went.
I hope he had spotters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how you can spot for something like that.
They'll like have people with like your, you know.
But I mean, like he's got the way he has to like pull that up so fast,
That's
one-handed.
true.
If you've got two hands, like you might not have the strength, but it's not going to go careening to one side or the other.
No, that's
most
a good
likely.
point.
But with just one, like you also have to just be perfectly balanced. So it's like it's impressive to watch.
It is impressive to watch. So yeah, that's why it's here. I tell you what, that Logan Aldridge, he's a cool dude. I just thought this was a cool video.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Logan, he had life hacks. I'm sure he gets lots of questions sometimes, sometimes maybe inappropriate or rude, even if people have the heart in the right place, or just the same thing over and over again, right? But he has a little video here about how he cuts his nails.
Yeah, and he's like, this is how you do it with one hand, and then he goes through and shows it how he like puts it underneath his foot, and then he does it, and it's really cool. It also reminded me of our babysitter that we had.
Yeah, Tisha,
because
just a reminder to people that aren't longtime listeners. We've mentioned in the past, but it's been a long time.
It has been a very long time.
We had a babysitter with no arms.
We did. And everybody was safe. It was all good.
She was great.
She was an awesome.
She was actually on
babysitter.
Tosh.0.
She was.
Yeah.
She was. And like the things that she figured out to do.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I'm that resourceful. I mean, I know that necessity is the mother of invention. So,
yeah.
But I am just so impressed by people who are just like, yeah, but I want to do this. Let me figure out a way. Like, I'm just so impressed by that. So
see, I would just be like, I guess I just bite my nails.
I know, right?
Like that's nobody can even yell at me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's like, no.
Yeah.
And Logan, he's like, I will show you. Here's how you do it. And look at those nails. They're clean.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and
that
Logan,
is like a perfect cut.
I'm not trying to take away from your accomplishment because it's great that you figure out things like this, but you make Peloton money now. Go get a manicure.
Well, I think it's cool that he didn't. And I love that Paralympics, they posted Paralympics admin does the exact same thing, but they usually sit on the floor in front of the TV. I love that. Yeah, very cool.
Emma Lovewell posted some pictures from her trip to Japan.
She did. And this one cracked me up because she said, the next time you think about skipping an interval in my class, remember this photo exists.
Yeah.
She's got her samurai sword out.
Yeah, she's full on samurai. She'll cut a bitch. Better do what she tells you to do.
Yeah, do not cross Emma Lovewell or you will get crossed with a big sword. But she posted a lot over the last couple of weeks on her trip to Japan, and she had a full recap of her trip that went out in her newsletter. So if you haven't gotten that yet, you haven't signed up for her newsletter and you want to know all about her trip, then definitely sign up for her newsletter. Very cool.
Christine Diorcole had a Instagram post about the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah, but it's not just that. If you scroll down, you will see that this is a word shop. And she hasn't done one of these in a while that I know of. But this one is the first word shop retreat called Words Work, and it is taking place in Costa Navarino, Greece.
Whoa.
26 people are doing a progression of 4 word shops that are designed to dive deep in the inner monologues that we say to ourselves. And she's been doing these for a very long time. That's where I am, I can, I will, I do comes from. So very cool that she is there and that is happening. And it looks like there are upcoming word shops and retreats happening. And you can go to her Instagram link. The link is in the bio if you want to check it out.
Selena Samuela posted some video from her wedding.
She did. So obviously she's been married for a little while now. I mean, and I know this is kind of old news, but the video was just so pretty and it like showed everything up close.
It looks like scenes from a movie.
It does. It's just gorgeous. It's like absolutely gorgeous. The colors and everything. And it was just a really nice video. And I thought for people who maybe didn't want to flip through a People magazine, they just wanted to see, the highlights, that this might be a good way to do that. So wanted to share that it was out there. Very cool video.
And speaking of Selena Samuela, she has to step away from boxing for now.
Yeah, she is 8 months along, so it's coming up quick. And she was saying that she can't do her boxing workouts right now. So she's not going to be releasing new boxing content for a few months, but she will be back for more. Obviously, there is still lots of boxing content on demand, and she will still be on the tread and on strength every Friday at 9 a.m. And she says that you should not be fooled by her pregnant belly because the classes are still hard AF.
So when is she due?
Well, apparently a month from now.
Okay. So if this times out right, she could maybe release the next one on December 26th.
Oh.
Because it's Boxing Day. What?
I'm pretty sure the studio will be closed.
What, they could have one ready to go.
They could.
Yeah.
I don't know that they will. And Rad Lopez is still out there doing his boxing content, so maybe he'll do it. He can step up. She's making a baby. Good Lord. Give her a break.
Well and Good talked to Kendall Toole in an article title. I hate titles like this.
I know, it's really long.
Just go on and on. But it says, I've always been afraid that I didn't have the right body for cycling, so I talked to a Peloton instructor, and this is what she said on a Thursday in March at around 9 a.m. We went out for breakfast. We had a light brunch.
It's like the title to the Fiona Apple album.
I know, right?
In 1997.
It's like article titles shouldn't have a subplot. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
And I do agree, by the way. And just to be clear, the person who writes the article is not the person who comes up with the title. So let's not forget that. But she talked about how she is a larger woman. She's not super thin. And so she talked to Kendall Toole about that. And Kendall Toole gave her some talking points to kind of reframe how to start with things like beginner classes and be gentler on yourself to get yourself in a better place and enjoy the class. Like, because at the end of the day, you should be enjoying the class.
Yeah.
And just not worry about where everybody else is. And that's what it all comes down to, if you ask me.
And that is one of the upsides of something like Peloton is you don't have that pressure of going out in public if that brings you anxiety. Like I have it, like I use the tonal. But when we're traveling and they're like, oh, just go to the hotel gym, hard pass, can't do it. Can't do it. Nope. I'll run around and do cardio stuff in the hotel room, but I'm not going to that gym and touching a weight. You
don't like the feeling. You don't want to be judged.
I don't belong here. Yeah.
It's not as bad as you have it in your head, but I get it. I do.
Cody Rigsby has free self-care ideas that he talks to Elite Daily. This is part of a...
It's just an ad, right?
It's an ad.
Yeah.
Hey, we have ads, so I'm not shitting on ads.
No, but it's not really an article. That's all I meant.
Yeah,
that's all I meant.
It's that tie-in with Credit Karma that he's been doing. We had a story about that last week that was in People. Yeah. And so now he's out there with tips for ways to...
No, it's actually smart marketing.
Yeah.
The way that they're doing this, they're kind of taking these pieces and putting them out there in lots of places. So you could take one thing, and this is a great way to use one thing for many pieces of content. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So yeah, the bottom line is he talks about self-care and why it's important. And I think he has talked about that in other stuff. So I don't even know that this is really new, and
I will say it's nice to talk about like free ways, because so many times self-care tips are things that are going to cost you money.
Yeah. And this one is like build in a meditation, take some time for yourself. Like these are things that are very easy to do, like Tom said, for free. Yeah. So it is nice.
Tobias or Tobias.
We're not sure.
We're still unsure.
Yeah.
Hines is 3 weeks out.
3 weeks till his big climb. And so he is training, and this week he was a weekend in Snowdonia National Park in Wales.
That sounds like in Wales. That sounds like it should be in Narnia.
I know. I am so obsessed with this journey. I think it is so cool. And the video, just the pieces that he shows, also look like it could have been part of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But at any rate, Snowdonia National Park, Wales. He's there training. That's how he does.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So there was an in-store appearance on Tuesday from Alex and Ash in New Jersey.
Yes, Alex and Ash are 2 of the 3 brand new rowing instructors that we have.
If you're not up on your rowing instructors, but you're a Peloton fan, you're probably like, who the hell are Alex and Ash?
That is why I said. So they were at a store, Boston?
New Jersey?
New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at any rate, so one of one of our listeners went, and they gave me all the DL. Apparently, this was not a very heavily publicized event, so there were only 10 people there, so they got a lot of one-on-one time with Alex
sweet.
and Ash. So that's
the
really, really
upside
cool.
of going to something like that.
It really is. Okay, so here's the deal, though. Alex is going to be competing at this. This is a rowing event. Now, I'm about to say a bunch of words that I really don't know the meaning of.
Okay.
The head of Charles Regatta. I feel so snooty saying regatta. Yeah,
you sent me this in text of what you're about to read, and I was just like, did you have a stroke? Did you pass out and fall on your keyboard? What are you typing to be right now?
Head of the Charles Regatta. I just feel like you need a certain voice to say those words.
Like Thurston Howell III.
Yes, I need an ascot. Okay, but anyway, in all seriousness, this is very cool because Peloton is actually a sponsor. So if you can go there, you absolutely should, because it's this weekend. I think it's on the 23rd. It's all weekend long, but Alex is going to be competing. There is a Peloton boat. How cool is that? A Peloton boat. They're going to be rowing. So also interesting, just a little tidbit, Hydro dropped out. They were a sponsor and no longer are there.
Did they run out of money? Did they not want to show up because Peloton was there and now they're mad?
Don't know.
Interesting.
These are just things I hear.
Yeah.
These little things. But Peloton, like I said, is sponsoring. There is going to be a Peloton tent. You never know. Might be some cool swag there.
Yeah.
Alex is going to be there. I don't know if Ash is going to be there or not. And I'm not sure about Katie either. But anyway, Alex will be competing on 10/23 in event 59. It takes off at 1:07. He will be in the champions under 4+ for men under team WKMR Peloton. Yeah, okay. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Apparently, he will be in Bow 59.
WKMR, it's all your classic rock hits for Rhode Island.
Port Charles.
Yes.
Charles Head, I don't know. But also, he will
Congrats,
be in Bow 59. I tell you this because you can live stream this. It's being live streamed. So if you want to see Alex compete in the Peloton boat, go check it out. There's also another Peloton boat for the men's doubles, not the four team. And I have no idea who these people are that are in it.
Yeah.
But Alex will be in seat 3, Bow 59. It's not boat, it's bow. I learned that today. You know why they call it a bow?
Because they're busy people. They don't have time to say boat. They say bow.
No, that's not why.
Oh.
No, it's a good guess, but no. Because apparently they put the numbers on the bow. And so they call it Bow 59.
Oh.
I had somebody explain this. I knew none of this.
No.
So, yeah, rowing turns out is that's a very northeastern thing.
Well,
we don't have rowing here.
Well, we're going to row in a river?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's all foreign to me. It's like a whole different language. Seat 3 on the starboard side. I don't know what side that is. We don't have boats. I mean, we have boats on the water. You get in and you drink a beer. That's what we do here. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Nobody's starboarding and
that's different.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do both. You can fish out of a boat, but I couldn't tell you what a starboard and port side and side port. I don't know what any of that stuff is.
I know they always say it when we're on a cruise.
Yes, and I pay zero attention.
And I still have no idea.
Which way are the fishes going?
Yeah.
Which way are the Mickey heads going? That's all that I need to know.
All we know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And also, if you're looking for in-store appearances, Matt Wilpers and Katie Wang have one coming up.
Yes. When was that one?
It's the 29th. I don't have the...
How did we not have this up? I don't understand what happened.
I don't know if I forgot to include the link or I thought there was a picture and there isn't, but it was this month, but coming up in a week or week and a half.
Okay. Coming soon.
Yes.
Be on the lookout. Great job reporting, Tom and Crystal.
You're welcome. Also, I forgot to include this. I went right on by it, but Cody Rigsby has a secret project. Yeah, he does. He posted it over on his Instagram stories, and he is looking for people to submit questions for self-love, relationships, and life advice. It's some kind of top secret project. He says, don't ask me. I can't tell you. The ink is still drying on the contract. So I don't know. We'll see. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Also, I love that plaid shirt he's wearing. It's very pretty. I like it. Looks so soft. The Clip Out. Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Angelo from MetPro, here to answer all of your fitness and nutrition-based questions. Hello.
Hi.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Well, we're happy you're here because Karen Thompson needs your help. She has trouble.
Okay.
She has trouble with the fact that her family is constantly doing things like they have running group that meets on Tuesdays and then they go out to eat after, or there's football games on the weekend and they tailgate. And there's all these other events and they seem like they're never eating at home, and trying to figure out the best way to eat healthy when all this is happening is driving her crazy. Help.
I get it. That is a challenge. So with our clients, what we're constantly working on is the lifestyle hacks, little lifestyle hacks for just such a scenario. So, it's twofold. One, if you can exert some influence on the location of those eating out afterwards, that will help. And so generally speaking, going with your kind of classic dinner houses, you're like a steakhouse or breakfast house, you're going to be able to order something that's very clean, and you're going to be able to order consistently, and it'll be the same thing each time you order. Now, on the flip side, if you do some ethnic foods, which I love, the problem is it's going to be different every place you go.
Right.
The formulation, when you get the Kung Pao chicken, it's different depending on the restaurants. You don't always know what you're getting. Whereas I can go to any steakhouse, any dinner house, and I know if I, order the salmon and baked potato and a side salad, exactly what I'm getting. So it's easier to be strategic. Okay, so let's kind of put that on the shelf for a moment. As far as practical, I'm guessing that after a lot of these events, it's dinner time. So back half of the day, a good strategy that works, if you're cutting carbs back half of the day, wherever you do end up eating, do a low carb dinner and you're going to be all right. It's easier to actually stick to a low carb dinner. Now, I'm not promoting that across the board. That's one of the reasons why I use strategic snacks, because if I know that a client of mine has meals throughout the day where we have less control, I anchor to a snack where I'll control the carbs they have at that snack, because we don't take snacks socially. So there's no like, oh, well, grandma stopped by and she wanted to eat that, no, that's, going out to dinner with the family, or that's, going to lunch with your business partner, or whatever the case may be. But I can say, hey, I want you to have an apple and 12 almonds at 2:30, and I know you'll be able to consistently get that carb at that afternoon snack. So if you anchor to those, then you can have a principled dinner where you're trying to go with veggies and or salad, as much greens as you can get, and some lean proteins. And if your goal is weight loss, that's usually not going to be the wrong choice. Let's at least put it that way. I need to know your particulars, Karen, to say exactly, here's what we want to do, and this, we're going to have this, and we're going to avoid that. But generally speaking, you're going to be safe with protein and veggies. And of course, you'll get some fats mixed in with that naturally. So if you're one of those people who say, well, I actually want to have a balanced meal where I want to have carbs, but I don't know what carbs are available, they hit a different restaurant every time. Well, what I would be doing is sitting down with you and saying, okay, tell me the top 3 or 4 restaurants you most frequently go to, and we'd be working it out in advance. Absent of knowing that, here's what I would tell you. Bring an apple with you. It's that simple. Bring an apple. You can literally eat it on your way into the restaurant. Be done with it. You've had your carbs. Now you can order mostly protein and veggies. And that's a little hack that has worked well for some of my clients. So hopefully somewhere in there, you have a solution or something that will trigger an idea that's helpful. One last thing I just thought of, Karen, because we're eating out, we know that meal is coming. Most of my guys fall into this trap. This is I know I'm eating out, so I better eat less now because it's going to be bad then. That is not the winning strategy. That backfires. Even if you know you're going out to dinner and you're going to be at the pizza place or whatever the scenario is, don't skip lunch. Don't skimp on an afternoon snack. Have the whole thing, because I don't want you going now only having unhealthy, fattening foods in front of you and being ravenously hungry. That's not going to go well. So feel free, have quality foods in plentiful order throughout the day. Then when you go to an event, you go to a restaurant, or you go to the neighbor's barbecue, you're going to be able to select with and execute with a little bit more self-control because you're not ravenous.
Yes. No good decisions were ever made when you are starving.
Awesome.
That's it. I'm out.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of that. If people would like this sort of information tailor-made for them, where can they find you?
metpro.co/TCO.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
Ashton Kutcher's Our Future Selves series continues, and this time with Thomas Rhett.
Yes, it does. And I took this class today, and I had so much fun. He talked about like all kind. I really like this Ashton series, and for anybody out there who hasn't given it a chance, I really think you should, because it has been so great to hear people like Ashton does a great job of talking about like things that you want to know, but that they're open to talking to him about because they're friends with him already. So like he kind of already knows where they're going to go with their answers. So it's like safe, you know?
Yeah.
And they talk about things like how he grew up and the kinds of jobs he did and how he ended up in country music and just like all of the songs that he's written. Like, you know, that song that he wrote, and I know you know this one, Tom, about like all the things that he wants to do. Like if I never get to see the Northern Lights, you know that song? Mm-hmm. Well, there was only one thing he hasn't.
Die a Happy Man.
No, that is a song.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing he hasn't done. Although now I'm like, well, of course he hasn't.
Right, because he was alive.
So I stopped talking. But but there was only one thing on that list that he hasn't done, and so it was just neat to hear him talk about the first time he saw the Northern Lights and the first time he saw the Eiffel Tower at night. Like it was just cool. It was neat to hear all of that. And Ashton's kids.
I would want to know, like, is there anything you want to do that doesn't rhyme?
No, it's a fair question. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
He's like, I want to eat an orange.
Well, he was also talking about that he has like Ashton asked him how many songs he had written that had never been recorded. And he said that he has like 600 to 700 songs in his OneDrive that he's not recorded. And he said that he hopes someday to have an entire record of things that have never been recorded. Like he wants to just do it rough on his iPhone and just put it out.
Isn't every record pretty much songs that have never been recorded?
But he wants to put it out that's like raw. Like he wants it not produced. You know? Which I just thought was kind of neat. He was talking about, it was just a lot of fun that he was talking about like, God, wouldn't you love to like go back and like listen to the Stones or the Beatles? And he was in the what is that documentary that came out about the Beatles? Get Back, and it has like all this rough footage.
Like it has like just hours and hours of footage of them recording.
And he loved it. He loved every second of it. And so that's the kind of thing I mean. It's just amazing. And I don't know if I put a picture of it in there, but there was also, did I put a picture of Dr. Agus in there? Agus?
I don't think so.
Well, it was also they released 2 episodes this week, and I did both this morning because I was doing intervals 30 by 30, and I had to do 14 of them 3 times. So it took longer than a half hour. So I did 2 classes back to back, and Dr. Agus was the other guest that was released this week. And Dr. Agus was talking about Whole Foods, and like he has been everywhere. Like you've seen this guy, even if you don't recognize the name. He has been like a presidential like consultant for their health, and he has like done all kinds of stuff for cancer, and he's done a lot of cancer research. And so you've seen this guy, but he talked a lot about Whole Foods and things that there are some people don't realize, like smoothies aren't inherently good for you. People think that they are just because they have fruit in them. And he was like, but we need to chew the fruit. Chewing the fruit is part of the importance of eating the fruit. And he just had a whole lot to say about that. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't necessarily agree with his stance on protein powder, but that's for another day. Anyway, here's the cool part. I tagged him in my post today. Dude responded. I totally was taken back by that. And the reason I was is like, this guy talks to presidents and he's taking the time to answer my inbox in a random Instagram. Like, what?
It was his response. Chew your fruits.
No, but I said I loved what he had to say about Whole Foods, and he was like, the data clearly shows it's the best. Like, I know it wasn't a big conversation, and I didn't go on about it. It wasn't the point. It was just like, how cool is that? Just like, he was just on my TV screen. I mean, that's pretty cool. It was just neat. I get more interaction with Dr. Agus than I do the instructors. Pretty awesome.
Hey, you had Sanjay Gupta.
I did. Yeah, and Gloria. Yeah, never mind. I'm just gonna stop. I've been tweeting a lot.
Yes.
Twitter is a new realm for me.
You're getting more traction than I do.
No, I don't. No, I do not.
Peloton artist collaborations.
So the Babyface series is official.
It is. Yep, it's happening October 21st. So again, as I've already said, I'm pretty sure he's going to be live during a couple classes, but there's going to be more classes in addition to that for the artist series. So if you go to the next screen, we've got Allie Love is doing a ride. The new album is called The Girls' Night Out, 30 minutes with Allie, and then Kirsten is doing a walk and run, 30 minutes, and then there's going to be a 20-minute strength with Adrian. Is there another one? Another page? Nope, that's all.
That's all I got.
And they start on Friday, October 21st.
Past guest update.
Past guest update and former Peloton instructor Stephen Little had an Instagram post about how he celebrated his 49th birthday.
Yeah, this just made me happy to see. You know, he's been coming up a lot lately as we've been talking about instructors leaving Peloton. So I just felt that it was right to post this. We said happy birthday last week to Stephen Little, but he had a picture of himself. He had several pictures of himself with his dogs camping outdoors in the Rockies. So happy birthday, Stephen Little. Glad you're enjoying it. He looks very happy. I love it.
Checking out the competition.
Soul Cycle is cutting instructor pay and classes.
Oof.
Yeah. So this is from page 6. And so I thought this is a good counterpoint to the Forbes article, right? When people are like, should I buy a Peloton? Is this company going to exist in 6 months? I don't know what I should do. And it's like, this is what a company that's struggling looks like, right? I mean, not only are they paying the instructors less, and this is the
Soul Cycle is.
Soul Cycle. Thank you, just so nobody gets confused. And these are the instructors that actually, I believe, teach classes like live and in person, not their at-home stuff. But they're scheduling fewer classes. Well, I don't know how to read that other than there must be less demand, right? Like, why?
Well, I don't know. Actually, I will say that traditionally, spin instructors have been paid per class, so it might be part of the cost cutting to give them less classes.
Okay, but if those classes are full, they wouldn't be cutting them.
Nope, that's fair. That's fair. I see where you're going with that. Yeah, sorry, I was hearing it different, but I get what you're saying, and that's a very fair point. Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, if they're cutting classes too, then that means that fewer people must be going, which is also, if you think about it, problematic, because all we've been reading is how there's this great return to gyms, right? And so if everyone's going back to the gym but not to Soul Cycle,
where are they going?
I
think they're going to these cheapo gyms that have like everything in them, because they're so much more economical.
Well, okay, here's another way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
If you have a Peloton and you're going to go back to the gym, why in the hell would you go to Soul Cycle?
Right.
You've got one of those at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're gonna augment your Peloton workouts with an in-person experience, you're not gonna pick another bike.
Right.
You're gonna go to a gym that's gonna also give you a tread or an elliptical or what have you. So
yeah, that's a very good point.
In case you missed it.
So in case you missed it, that's what this segment is called. And we're going to talk about Kindle Tool and dogs because I missed it. This was supposed to be in Instructors in the News.
This just cracked me up because she apparently has some kind of partnership with this thing called Spot and Tango.
Uh-huh.
But they had a dog party in the park.
Okay.
And I assume it was Central Park. So she has pictures with her and her dog, and they're called Bowie Bites, and they're bison snacks for her pup, Bowie. So they're Bowie Bites for Bowie.
Okay.
But also, if you look at the picture, they literally took over the park with all their dogs. Like everybody showed up and they like were giving out the Bowie Bites, and then they like all walked through the park. So it was adorable. Oh, I thought it was cute.
And also in an actual, and in case you missed it segment, not one that I forgot about.
Yeah, well, I messed up on this one, though, because I said it was a mini apparel drop. It was a full apparel drop.
Oh.
Like, it was a full on lots of stuff, lots of options for fall. I would call this fall 1. And there were a lot of really pretty options. This set that Rebecca Kennedy is wearing on the page, it's like a fuchsia. Loving it. But I held back because I had just bought the Kendall stuff. And of course, the Star Trek set, not that long before that.
And a new scale.
I mean, but it does cool new things. So, yeah, I held back. But when this goes on sale, if this goes on sale, I will be purchasing. So I don't know how long I'm going to save you money, Tom.
Yeah, it's typically not very long.
Peloton birthdays.
And we have 2 birthdays this week. On October 24th, you can say happy birthday to Matt Wilpers. Mm-hmm. Well, it's America. You can say happy birthday to anybody anytime you want. It just might not be true.
That's true.
But and then the next day, October 25th, is Emma Lovewell's birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday to Matt and Emma. And I probably say this every year, but just in case I don't, that's also my daughter's birthday. I don't remember saying it.
I don't remember either, but it is.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
She's going to be 16. Emma should say happy birthday to Sydney, don't you think?
I'm sure she'll get right on that.
I'm sure.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Cristina Ribeiro. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Except
It was pretty close.
except you trill the R's, and I have an Irish tongue, and we don't trill unless we're drunk.
You said it perfectly.
Yeah.
You said it perfectly, just as you did some month ago.
So for those of you who don't know, Cristina, she interviewed us for our 100th episode. Can you believe it's like almost been 200 episodes ago since you were on our show last?
Incredible.
I can't believe
so
it's
many
been that
things
long.
have changed
Right?
since then, except you and Tom, who have gotten stronger, younger, and more willing. Well, more willing to do more things for us and for you guys. Crystal, congratulations on everything. You are now a coach, a nutritionist coach. You are a sports fitness trainer or coach too. So you have gone long ways.
Well, thank
And
you.
Tom follows you, of course. He supports you. He gets in his tonal once in a while. When I interviewed you, Tom was not interested in anything or whatsoever, not even walking on the tread. And I said, Tom is just walking, but he was not going to.
I know.
I'm still not interested. I just do it.
He just does it.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's coming up on 4 million pounds lifted on tonal. Isn't that incredible?
Well, I don't have the tonal yet. So, but I know that you guys don't count the milestones are the weights. That should be so fascinating. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
cool. Yeah.
So, but this is about Peloton. So now, to me, you have been a member of this community forever. When did you first find Peloton, and when was it?
I would like to say that Peloton found me because I had no idea. It was in July 2013.
Wow.
So we are going, it was July 2013. I was still living in New York, in Manhattan. My husband just got a job in Greenwich, Connecticut. So we were just waiting another 10 months or so to out the lease of our apartment to expire to move. But we were still there, and I was going to Equinox Gym, and I was taking spin classes there with a pro cyclist that he would teach 2 hours. His classes were 120 minutes, 90 minutes, and 75. There was no lower than that. Wow. He was a hardcore guy. So I was taking his class, and I said, Chris, I'm going to move soon to Connecticut. I don't know where can I find this level of classes, this level of instruction, this level of spinning. Like, it was very similar to a power zone class, like very structured and very endurance. And he told me, well, there's a bike, there's a company that I'm working on now. They're going to release a bike possible next year. And it's going to come with a screen, it's a console, it's going to be live classes streaming from New York. So the instructor will be there. That could be a good option for you since you like to do it so much and you have your little one and possible another one on the way. And I said, are you telling me that there's going to be a bike with an instructor in it and people, and is going to tell me exactly what to do? I mean, to me, it sounded so sci-fi, so futuristic that he said, yes. And said, oh, and you're working with them. So you're going to teach? I said, I'm not going to teach. I'm doing the hardware now, but they are testing it and it will be released. So I left the gym with that idea in my mind. And so I go home and I told Andy, do you know what Chris told me about this bike? It's going to release, it's going to have a console, an instructor on it. You can take classes anytime. And he said, well, yeah, sounds good. But I think that people still like to go to the gym. So I don't know how it will be. And end of the story. No, I didn't hear anything else about Peloton. He did give me the website, and I did go to the website. That time was pelotoncycle.com. So it was just Joe Foley explaining a very nice presentation with all what he envisioned for the bike, a picture of the bike, and that's it. Nothing to click, no pre-order, no date.
It was the simplest that you could possibly get.
It was a YouTube video with him introducing himself, who he was, what he was planning to do. That's it.
Wow.
So fast forward March 2014, it was my last birthday in the city, living in the city. We're going to move at the end of the month. And he took me out for dinner. And when we were having dinner, he gave me an envelope and he said, well, I have this gift for you. The only thing is that it's not going to arrive in the US until 3 months. And I thought, well, it can't be my mom because we already have her ticket. I was expecting Emily, my second daughter at the time. So I was pregnant in the restaurant and I knew that my mom was coming to help me. So I said, well, what can it be that is not going to be here in 3 months? So when I opened the envelope, it was the confirmation order and the picture of the bike. And I said, this is the Peloton bike, the one that Chris told me last year. He said, yes. I think that the concept is very good for you because just think about it. You like spinning so much. If you miss a class at the gym, now we're going to have 2 kids. Well, how cool for you to take a class at home, have it as a backup. And I said, yes, this is fascinating. Wow, it's going to be 3 months. How am I going to wait? That was all that anxiety. The thing is that when the bike arrived, 2 weeks after, I had Emily. So she came 1 month before. So I didn't have much time to explore it and to play with it and to try many things. I did remember my first ride. It was at 6 a.m. live with an instructor. She's not here anymore. Her name was Antonia DeSantis. Maybe you heard about it.
Yeah.
Then the ones that were there was her, Lisa Niren, Steph Neiman, Jenn Sherman, Marion. Marion. So those were the few instructors that were around. I immediately fell in love with Marion because she was all about themes, and I like themes. Like she would do 80s ride, or like for Halloween, she did a back to school ride, Halloween ride, like theme things. But then, so everything that year was kind of different because I was still going to the gym. Remember, the bike was a backup, so there was no community. I didn't know anybody. There were like a very few people. I never had to scroll the leaderboard ever for months. In a live class, there should be maybe 3 or 4. In an on-demand class, maybe 10, 15.
Wow.
That was all. Yeah, and so it was so like. I remember the screen when I turn on my bike and I see everything that I have and everything that we lack at the time. It was just the clock, your name. There was no filters. There were no high fives. There were no hashtags. There was nothing. It was so simple, so easy to navigate. Now I get lost sometimes even choosing a class because when we started, there were 3 types of class. It was Peloton Cycle, Pure Peloton and Peloton Endurance, who was the 60-minute class.
That was it.
Classes were it was only 45 and 60. And there were maybe 3 classes in the morning and then 3 classes in the afternoon, starting at 4 p.m. That's why on demand is when I did, because it fell during nap time.
Sure.
I remember the first time that they put a class like at 1:30 p.m. And I said, oh, this would have been so nice 2 years ago when I was riding on demand during nap time because there were no classes to take.
I think that's something good for people to remember, like how few options there were, because whenever there's a change, everybody loses their mind, or not everybody, but a lot of people. But if there were never any changes, you'd still have 3 class types to choose from. That's it.
Yes, exactly. So I remember that fall in 2014, they introduced 2 new classes that were, someone must remember this. Oh, geez, please, you have to remember this. It was rhythm and metrics.
Yes.
That was a huge change.
I remember they still had metrics. They didn't have rhythm when I joined in 2016, but they still had metrics. So I remember that.
Well, you saw that when I remember Robin was teaching metrics, Jesky was teaching metrics. It was all about numbers and things. So I decided one day to try rhythm with Jenn Sherman. And that was a whole new world for me. That's when I decided, okay, you know what? How many days I went to the gym this month? 3, 4. This bike is not a backup anymore. This bike is the gym for me. So I decided, like I say, I told Andy, and they're going to cancel my membership at the gym. Those $200 that they give you Equinox, how about if I buy dumbbells, maybe a Bosu ball or something? He said, well, if you want, but he was kind of weird. He said, well, I don't know. Like, do you really like to? Yes, I like to get up, have a class in this bike. And there was still no community. In 2015, when one member, then Mahan, you might know this story, she decided to create the members page. When the day that I accepted the request, there were 58 people already signed in the page. Yeah, 58, imagine. I remember John Bernstein was there, Candace Ryan was there, David Burnett. So it's a little crew. And we're just talking and taking classes. And then when the milestones became important, because at that point, everybody was hitting 50, everybody was hitting 100, like everybody. Very soon, Laura Pag, I know that they mispronounce her name, but she knows it. Laura Pag. Laura, very soon, I don't know, all of a sudden she was celebrating 500 and everybody, what?
Yeah, that sounds like Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She that never changed. There are things that I always say, like, there are many things that change in Peloton. Some things don't change. Her incredible determination is one of them. But then, the OPP was just such a nice place to be. We were talking about kids, about this, about that. The only issue we had, I have to say, was to figure out who a guy was that was the Flash. Carlos, if you're listening, you know you're talking to you. Carlos Bustinza, he was a guy from Miami, and he was always at the top. But at the top of the top, like 1,000 output was nothing for him. Who is this guy? He must be a pro. He must be something. So all the conversation was about that until we finally discovered who he was. He was a specialist in cycling, of course. He was very hardcore. But things were so nice, so simple. I'm not saying that they are not now. It's just difficult to connect because it's just so many people. And sometimes someone asks for advice and I just throw an advice. But back in the time, I would think about, okay, how do I say? Because this person is so-and-so. I know it. I know him or I know her. So it's kind of, well, you don't talk to a friend like, hey, you should do this. Like, well, you know. So, but now is how it is.
Yeah, everyone was so much more thoughtful back then. I mean, I remember the first time I posted on the OPP, and there were quote unquote only 8,000 people in the group in 2016.
Yes.
And that was really small compared to what it is now. Mm-hmm. And it was intimidating then to post something, but everybody was super, super nice. Like nobody was ever, I mean, there were people that could be a little snarky, but usually they would throw on a winky face or something, you know, to like show, hey, I'm teasing you. Whereas now they just go for the throat.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I truly enjoyed that time, and I enjoy it now. I just think it's just, it's different, but it's supposed to be. It's been 8 years. I celebrated 8 years, and I think that they have gone way, way further than what I thought it would be when I first got the bike. Like, you know, you never expected, wow, this growth so sudden, and this popularity so sudden. But, well, in the same way, for me, it has been hard to connect with other new instructors, because when you grow in an environment that everybody knows who you are, and when they give you a shout out to you, like Jenn, for example, she would say my little one name, but she would also say my name. And she does that with many of us because, well, we were there, and she was able to be in the OPP, and she was able to know who was requesting each ride, who was participating in the tribe requests. Sometimes she would take requests. The OPP was a place for everybody, instructors and members, and now it's just impossible. And I would not expect the instructors to be there also, because, well, there's so much going on with their lives, and you don't want them to be like slaves of social media. And for us, like, their job has to have a boundary to say, well, okay, I teach my class, I prepare my class, but I don't have to be chatting, responding, commenting. I think it's just too much. I even feel bad for them, like finish a class and go to these lives that they have to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, they should go home. They already gave everything.
Well, maybe, you just brought up an interesting point. Maybe that's one of the many reasons that classes have gotten shorter, because they now go live afterwards.
Because they have to go live. They have to post this. They're doing a smoothie at home and they have to post. And I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're cleaning their floor, they're doing a ponytail, and they have to go live. And poor instructors, like, I would be much happier if they would say, okay, enjoy your day, I'm going to enjoy mine, and see you tomorrow. Like, I don't know. But that's just me. Like, maybe some people wait for the live.
I guess it depends on, how often you can get to the studio, and if that's your only time you can connect with the instructor, because for so many people, they aren't able to get to the studio, especially people who joined during COVID, right? Like, they couldn't go to the studio. And so their only real connection with the instructor was to go to those lives and, get some input back and forth there in that way. Yeah. How has your
it's very nice.
How has your relationship with like Jen Sherman and that whole crew, how has it
it's been amazing
over time?
Jen is, I don't know, I could not imagine my life and my bike, and I always say, well, I don't know, maybe it's just so special. When I met Jenn, it was back in 2015, I think. It was one day that I went to the studio. The first time that I went to the studio was January that year for a 3-state event that they host. And it was Cody, Chess, King, and Nicole Melin that took the class. And it was just for New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York. That was my first experience. Nobody knew anybody. Everybody was like, hi, but nothing. Yes. Then I came back and I took a ride with Jenn, and that one was when she changed my leaderboard name. I was Cristina, just my name, just Cristina, so simple. And then when she saw me and she saw me biking, I was, oh my goodness, this is a little powerhouse. This is, I don't know, she found that I was so strong, I guess, or something. So ever since she was calling me for a milestone, for a birthday, for something in the bike, she was referring me as little powerhouse. So when I started going more often to the studio, people say, hi, Cristina, the little powerhouse. Or I would say, hi, I'm Cristina. Oh, yeah, it's just little power. So I said, well, I have to change my leaderboard name. It seems that everybody relates to me with this leaderboard name. So, and Jenn is a person that she has always been there for whoever needs it. Like, it's just so inspiring the way that she can deliver a class. involving all the riders in the studio when we were there, at home, or even if you're not in a bike. Like the other day, she was calling a person, like I say, okay, someone is running on the tread, so everybody's gonna climb. So you put the incline. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so genuinely, naturally. And also I connected more with her because when I was riding with Marion, then and I started taking Jenn's class, it was always on demand, but I was seeing the same people.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, there's a connection here. Whoever rides with Marion rides with this girl, with the bandana girl. I used to call her the bandana girl because at the beginning she was wearing a bandana.
She always had the bandana.
She always had the bandana. So I started taking more classes with her. And then it was when she started doing her rock rides at 9:30 on Tuesdays, is that it became super strong because it was really a meetup. Like all those people that were on demand that I was seeing, we all would get together for the Tuesday tribe at 9:30 on Tuesday, no matter what. Like seriously, no matter what, we were there. So that's how I found my fondest Peloton friends. I mean, those people that are still here and are still with me, and even if their lives have switched a little, we know how we met. It was riding these rides. It was because she was bringing us together. So I have so much respect and so much to thank Jenn for doing that, for being so special with this special crew that has grown so much, thankfully, because she should be one that everybody tries or rides with at least once. So yeah, I think that has made our relationship so strong. And then, well, there were many rides that she was doing for certain causes, for certain people, it has a purpose, right? It's so much different. Like, I never joined Peloton seeking any sort of journey. Like, everybody comes here because, well, they want to recover from an injury. They want to recover from pregnancy. They want to get fit. I just came to keep up my life.
Out.
Like, yeah, exactly. I the same way that I used to go to the gym and go home. Well, I take my class and go downstairs with my family. But then, I don't know, Peloton, I think that will make them different. People come here for a lot of reasons, a lot of things that you are totally unaware unless you get involved. Yeah. Unless you see this. Like, never in the gym, I turned to a person, I said, how are you feeling today? Did you have your chemo yet? How is that? Like, I had no idea if they even were suffering from something. Like, Peloton is different. It makes you appreciate more what you have, what you can do, understand that this is not a right, this is a privilege to go and move.
Yes.
Because you see these real people, these milestones every day, these people that are coming really from their ashes.
Yeah.
And they're renewing again. That is super powerful. That is what keeps me connected with this type of fitness, this type of company, tribes, whatever it is, because the inspiration that you can get from them is priceless.
It is.
I've never experienced it before, and I've been working out like forever. But it was from Peloton that I learned every day to put my hands up in the air and say, "Oh my God, thanks God I did that. Thanks God, my feet were okay, my legs were okay, my arms were okay," because there are people that cannot say the same.
Yeah,
and they're still there.
And the relationships that you've developed over time. I mean, I know I don't know everybody but I know for a fact you have developed some amazing Peloton friendships.
Yes. And you know what is interesting and I like is that I have friends in Peloton from all ages, all stages of her life. My friends have kids that are married. My friends have kids that are grandmothers. My friends have kids that just graduated college. It's incredible. It's very nice. And I thank them all to be there. My first little crew was Malia, Robin, and David Roy. We just met back in 2015 or 16, riding together. And Jenn was before Jenn started doing Just Fucking Do It. She was doing the Shit That Matter. Okay, this is the Shit That Matter. So we make shirts, the Shit That Matter, and we were called the Shit That Matter girls because we were all the four of us together always. They're still my friends. They're still there. And I don't know if there's any way that I could have met all these people if not by this bike.
I think that's true because it's like you don't necessarily run in the same circles, especially in a city or you were living in New York when you got it, but you moved to Connecticut. So yes, it's a country, it's like basically you can have friends all over the country. I mean, where else can you do that? You meet it? Yes. Yeah, you get together on your weekly ride and that's how you get to know each other. I mean, that's incredible. Yeah. That's special.
Yes. Yeah. And it does happen. And it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. And then some other things nice happen. I got the chance to participate in the Good Morning America show.
Yeah.
We were all riding bikes there. That was a nice experience in New York, Times Square. It was fun.
I bet it was exciting.
It was so exciting because it was all the preparation. We were there early, we were chatting. And then, we were on TV. Like I had never been on TV before. And I said, wow, this is so amazing. It was nice to represent and to be an ambassador that morning and to show the community this really had to be shown and had to be seen in the world, how we all connect together and how is more that is when we really wanted to put out there that is really more than a bike, because it is. So that was exciting. That was a very nice experience with my fondest friends that were there. Janina, Laura, Howie was there, Jason. It was just John and Erica Mills were there. It was such a much fun. Nice for all of us to have that experience.
It was Peloton royalty up there. I remember watching from home and seeing I know them and I know them and I know them.
Krista, you're so cute.
Yeah. And you also got to be in one of the Peloton ad campaigns too, right?
It wasn't the first time that Peloton partnered with, it was a collaboration with Athleta store. And then they wanted members and instructors in the photo shoot. So that was very nice. What it was nice about that is that I could see what the instructors do when they go to this photo shoot.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see the backstage. The lady that was doing our makeup was the same lady that was, because she asked me, what's your favorite instructor? And I said, I really love Jenn. Oh, I love her too. So I said, do you do her makeup? And she said, yes. So I felt like, oh my God, this is so amazing to see the process that they go through. And it was to see all, the rackets with their clothes labeled. I say, oh, how wonderful.
Do they just have this giant dressing room back there? Like they all just go and pick up? Yeah,
there was a dressing room. Yeah, there was a dressing room and everything was labeled, who was for who. So it seemed that when they arrived there, the same was for us. Like when we arrived, our clothes were hanging with our names. So we had to, choose, go change. But for the instructors, it was the same thing. Even their shoes. I remember staring at Robin Arzon's shoes.
I'm sure they were amazing.
Yeah. Very cool pair of shoes over there. Like it had her name on it. But it was cool for me to see because I had no idea how photo shoots work in general. I've never been in one. I never was in another one since after that. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be photographed and your hair is blowing. And
Yeah, the rock star hair.
yeah, like it was cool. It was cool, and it was nice. There were a few of us there, which we became friends after that because I didn't know them before. So that was a cool experience. I am very thankful for that too, and I always thank Jill for that too because she couldn't be there, but she was happy for us to be there. And everything that they have, I think it was a great accomplishment for the apparel to partner with Atleta. I think they're both very good brands.
Yes.
And so to represent for them was another cool thing to do.
I bet.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you said earlier about your leaderboard name that you might be the only person whose leaderboard name was assigned to them by an instructor.
I was thinking that too.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I never heard any other story, but this is true. And everybody knows, and Jenn knows too. And it's funny because I totally melt, and sometimes I stop pedaling when she said my little powerhouse. That is so. That's even oh my goodness, because right now, like just to have a shout out is just so incredible. And I love that she gives, like, if I am riding a milestone and she doesn't call me out, I'm fine. I much rather have her shout out someone that maybe had never been called out, because that experience is so unique for some people. So I always say, forget about me. Like if you see me, fine, but you don't have to call me. Call me another person that you haven't yet, so that person can experience it, because it's just so cool to be shouted out by you, but by someone that you truly follow and admire.
For sure. I was also thinking that means that somewhere out there's probably someone with the leaderboard name Cristina who wouldn't have gotten it otherwise.
That's true. That's true. Are they spelling it correctly, though? Because she spells it with no H, no K.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, no H, no K. Yeah.
So if you're out there, Cristina, no H, no K.
You only have that name.
Only have that. Because of Jenn Sherman.
I have an account that I don't use that is so I treat for Little Powerhouse, mine, and then I created immediately another one for the Beyond the Ride, because when they started doing Beyond the Ride, weights when you get off the bike, those workouts were counted as rides. So I remember I had to delete them because I don't want to hit 200 rides or something when maybe 10 or 20 of them are these arms that I am doing.
Right.
They didn't have a filter for those.
Right.
So I created another account to do the Beyond the Rides. And then they put everything together. Now they put the strength on one side and yoga meditation on the other side. But at the beginning, everything would fall in the same list of workouts. So that was challenging. So I still have an account with Cristina CR. So I don't know if someone can get in that name. Yeah. It's very tricky. When I rode my 500 ride, it was so special. It was the day I became an American citizen that year, and it was the first time that I was eligible to vote. It was election day. It was on a Tuesday, November. So I went to vote, and I came to take my 500 ride, and everybody changed their leaderboard name for my name, so I could get a lot of shout outs. And Janina got in trouble for that because it took her a lot of time to recover her name. I think that she told that story.
Yes.
So don't ever try to change your leaderboard name, not even for a joke or for a second. Someone will take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone will take
I
it.
didn't realize that was your 500th milestone when that happened. I knew it was for your milestone, but I didn't realize it was that particular milestone.
500. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and because it was my first time voting, I became an American citizen, and it was just a party. And,
What a day!
That's a lot of milestones for one day.
It was a lot of milestones that day.
Well, I guess we normally ask who your favorite instructor is, but I feel like we know.
Well, technically, she already asked herself that and answered it.
Yeah,
asked and answered.
My absolute favorite it is Jenn. Yes, but I also have respect for a lot of them, especially for those who teach me something. Like for example, I like my Wilpers a lot. Which, by the way, I always joke with him when I see him because I did some rides with him in Equinox when I was still there.
Oh, wow.
I just didn't know who he was. Like I remember saying, "Oh, this guy is insane," and he was very hard, and also he was an instructor in the gym that he would not be riding. He would be walking around and looking at your monitors and fixing things or fixing your resistance.
Oh, he was one of those.
Yes. Matt at Equinox was one of those. I took a few classes with him. Sometimes it was because he was savvy. He was teaching in the lower Manhattan, and I was always in Columbus Circle, Upper West Side. So he had to sub. I remember I said, that's that guy again. But now, yeah. And then the first time that I saw him as a Peloton instructor, and I said, I should have taken a lot of pictures with you back then when there was no line to take a picture with you.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot quicker back then, right?
Yeah. How did I miss those opportunities? But yeah, I like Matt a lot. I think that when you sat in his classes, it's a class. Complete class. You are cycling, you are learning because, it's kind of a lecture. Like he would say, well, today we're going to talk about recovery. So you learn about how to recover, when to recover, why you recover. Like it's a lecture. I feel like I've been sitting in college sweating.
Yeah. Yeah, he always teaches a lot of technical information, which is great.
It's fantastic because I don't have much time, or I don't make much time to read about the things, about FTP test, about your power ratio. So it's great to have someone that teaches you that. It takes you away from the zone 5 and 6 that sometimes you are. So I do power zone training with him. I do 3 challenges during the year. And when I am off the challenges is when I do things for fun, like boot camps or however. Now I've been getting very into running since I got my tread. So I do a lot of runs too. And he is my go-to for that. And then, any instructor will give you something. I mean, if you just don't connect with them, I don't take the class because of them. I take the class because of the music, or because someone will be there, or it's a milestone there, or it's just a popular class. Like for example, the Lisa ride. Well, that was the most popular class in the week. So I said, well, I'm going to take this Lisa ride then. But not because of Jess or Robin. I mean, they are phenomenal, yes, but it's
you took it for the experience.
Yeah, the experience, and all of them will bring you experience and their styles, and so I'm cool with all of them. There are some that I will not ride, but most of the time I just go with Jenn, Matt, because I am in Power Zone, and something in between.
So as someone who's been around since basically the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for people just getting a bike?
Well, I like to think of a quote from Francis of Assisi for someone that is starting something new and is kind of intimidating for some. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you will be doing the impossible. So you start, what is necessary right away is creating a routine, I think, a habit. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I take these classes no matter what. And you just make the time. Choose a time that nothing will get in your way, maybe very early in the morning when you don't even see those dishes in the sink, when everybody's still maybe sleeping, and choose a time that you can really do it. And then start by there, because when you create that, I think that is absolutely necessary. Then you will start going for more inevitably. Like, it's how your mind works. Like, okay, if I could do this, it's been 2 or 3 months that I've been doing this and this 20-minute ride. Now I'm going to do a 31. Now I'm going to do an arms and shoulders after. Like, because there's a point in which your discipline is just way more important than your motivation. And you will be there no matter what, because you're just so consistent to it. Like, okay, I didn't miss a day. I'm not going to miss it today. Like that kind of thing. And then, well, and all of a sudden you are in a 60-minute ride. You're in a 90-minute ride. Like it's just, it happens. But it will not happen if you just don't start making the why I'm here, and this is what I'm going to accomplish today. This is going to accomplish this week, this month. And then it just flows. Like, I get in a bad mood maybe if I don't exercise, or it's been days that I have been not doing what I consistently do. So I think that is because of that, because you created that discipline. Yeah. So that's my advice. Start low key, what is necessary. Don't pay attention who's in the leaderboard. Don't underestimate your strengths. Don't think that because that person is way ahead of you, that person is stronger than you. That's not true. Just change your mind and say, that person is being chased by someone. That person is chasing. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, that self-talk that's, okay, wow, look, that person might be chasing their last PR. So he's going to get there. I'm going to give him a high five and go. Leave me alone. Just don't think that they are stronger than you, or they can do more or better things than you. That is not true. Everybody here, like what Cristina Ribeiro is another one that I absolutely love. And she always say, it doesn't matter where you are in the leaderboard. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. What matters is that you are here. So listen to those words, take a ride. Sometimes it's therapeutic to listen to the podcast, listen to Dr. Jenn. Dr. Jenn, oh my God. Yeah. I think, yes, I would love to meet her one day. But yes, get involved. Don't be alone. See what's going on there. See how much struggles are there and how much you can do too, because you can. Do it for those who can't. Like, how many people would have loved to have this ride today and they couldn't? Okay, well, I'm here. I'm doing it for them. Like, change the self-talk and you will go so far. It's so much fun. Like, you're missing out. So get the bike and be happy. Invest in the bike. Be happy. Yes, and the rest, it will happen. It will happen.
Very good advice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. Or should you say join us again?
Yes.
But this time you answered the questions.
Yeah, you got to answer this time.
Thank you guys so much. You do so much for the community. We are so appreciative, and we do not take for granted anything that you do. So all the best. Good luck, and have a fantastic holiday time that is coming very soon. And well, kisses to all.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and the Peloton leaderboard at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online at facebook.com/The Clipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And if you like what you hear, maybe share an episode on your social media channel of choice. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
and running.